Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a little bit of a life update, life and business update. And so in this video, I want to go through, for whatever it's worth, what my goals are for my business and my life in terms of work, in terms of health, in terms of relationships. I'll talk through some of the main projects that we're working on this year. So if you've been following along the journey or you just care for whatever reason, then this might be an interesting video for you to watch. And of course, we'll put timestamps down in the video description so you can skip around to different areas of the video if you feel like it. If you're not particularly interested in how the journey's been progressing around the behind the scenes of this YouTube channel or the business or anything, there are so many more valuable videos to watch on this channel or outside of this channel, so please don't waste your time with this one. But yeah, I'm just gonna have a bit of a chatty, chill tea time chat around what's going on. So, life and business goals for 2023. So let's start with the business/work stuff. And then we're gonna talk about health, and then we're going to talk about relationships because these are the important areas of life. So on the work front, on the business front, one of the main realizations that I had last year in 2022 was that instead of trying to build a big business, what I wanted instead was a lifestyle business. Now, a lifestyle business is one where you've kind of got a few things. You're trying to make money, but really the thing that you're optimizing for is freedom and fun and flexibility. You're not trying to build a zillion-dollar company. You're not trying to grow a huge team. You're not trying to have like a huge, enormous impact on the world. You're not really trying to change the world. You're just trying to build a nice business that helps fund your own lifestyle in a way that gives you freedom, fun, and flexibility. And I kind of realized at this stage in my life, that is what I want to go for. Maybe in the future, I might decide I want to build a bigger company. Maybe in the future, I might decide I want to go back to medicine, who knows? But for now, lifestyle business optimizing for the 3 Fs seems pretty ideal. A lifestyle business also, you know, the objective is to make money. But a lifestyle business is broadly focused on profit rather than revenue. So for example, if you're a startup and you take investment from venture capitalists, you might want to grow your user base and try and grow your revenue really high, but have your costs really high so you're making a loss. And then at some point further down the line, you might want to sell or you might want to IPO and go public or whatever that might look like. That's like the opposite of what a lifestyle business wants to do. A lifestyle business wants to make a decent amount, a healthy amount of profit every single month, and that can be banked and put into other things. So the spare cash that this business generates, I generally put into index funds. So the S&P 500 or something like that. More on the video over there if you want to learn the basics of investing. And I'm trying to generally diversify my portfolio of investments so that I'm investing in things that are decorrelated with my popularity on the internet. Because kind of the issue with this kind of whole YouTuber creator career path is that, longevity in this sort of career path is not at all guaranteed. And so if I can build a really solid lifestyle business where I've got freedom, fun, flexibility, the team's having a good time, we're having the impact that we want, and we're making tons of money, putting that money aside into safer things other than the internet, that would basically let me live this kind of dream life basically forever, which is kind of nice. And then the other thing that a business does, generally, impact. And I put impact at the bottom of the list because, if we're being honest, for most people, the point of a business is to make money. The secondary point of a business is freedom, fun, flexibility, and the tertiary point of a business is impact. And so whenever I think about this business, I think, yeah, we're making money, freedom, fun, flexibility, and we're having the kind of impact that we want to have. And for me, personally, as I've said before in many videos, the thing that I personally care about is teaching and helping people build a life that they love. And if I were to die tomorrow, and some people at my funeral were to be like, yeah, Ali Abdaal's videos or whatever podcast kind of stuff changed my life because it helped me quit my job and follow my passion, or because it helped me study better in school, or because it helped me, discover Notion. I think that would be pretty good going. And whenever people come up to me in the streets and they say, oh my God, your videos really helped me get through medical school, or your videos really helped me leave medical school, whatever that might be, that always feels really satisfying and fulfilling inside. So that's kind of the sort of big picture philosophical point of the business. And crucially, the thing with the lifestyle business is we kind of do want to keep things small. I've got another video which will be linked over there and down below around why I currently have, I think, 14 employees, of which like 12 are full-time, including me, and 2 are like part-time-ish. Because I realized that I don't really want to be a solopreneur. I don't just want to do things myself because I really enjoy working with people and working with people in real life. But I also don't really enjoy having a huge team, and I don't really have the aspiration to build a very big business. So there's like a sweet spot of like how many people you've got on a team. And I feel like we're at that sweet spot now. And so we're doing cool stuff. And as long as the stuff feels energizing and enjoyable, then we'll continue doing the thing. Okay, so we know we want a lifestyle business, at least for now. What is then the business model? And I've been thinking about this a lot. And I think I have come up, well, I haven't really come up with this. This is pretty standard stuff. But this is at least how I think about the business model. Basically, there's 2 pillars of the business. There's the content, and then there's courses, And then we make loads of really good content. Hopefully it's really good content. And then some percentage of that audience feeds into buying our courses, and that helps fund the content. And it basically is a very simple business model that creates this kind of flywheel where I can spend all my time focusing on making free stuff on the internet. If people vibe with that, then some percentage of that audience will buy my paid stuff. And then that allows us to fund the production of more free stuff. And it's just kind of nice. And I think of this as like the 99-1-1 rule, which is that 99% of the content is free, but 1% of the content is expensive for the 1% of people who can afford it. And that seems to be a fairly sustainable business model, at least so far. That's kind of been the business model for the last 6 years of now running this creative business that I've been doing. And that seems to be the model that creators who have been in the game for far longer than I have also do. Essentially, info products. Info products like basically selling courses and digital downloads and occasionally making software. That's a thing that some people do. And so right now, with our team of 14 people, including me, 10 of us-ish are on the content side and 4 of us-ish are on the courses side, which kind of reflects the different weighting that I want to give to these things. Because for me, courses are a bit of a necessary evil in that, let's say if I had all the money in the world and I didn't need to make money for the business, I wouldn't bother making any courses at all. I would literally just spend all my free time creating YouTube videos and writing and learning and exploring and doing cool stuff. But the courses are also kind of fun to do, but like, obviously, if I didn't need the money, I would just chuck them online on YouTube for free because they'd be accessible to way more people then. So it's kind of like the 10 people on Content Squad, which is how we kind of separate out our team, and more details in that video over there where I talk about why I have 14 employees. The people in Content Squad are basically helping me kind of create content in a way that's hopefully enjoyable and engaging for the audience. And then the people on the courses team are trying to monetize some of that audience through our part-time YouTuber Academy and trying to deliver an amazing experience for them. Like absolutely world-class course, all of that fun stuff. Now on the courses side, we've got our part-time YouTuber Academy, which has actually done phenomenally well this final cohort, because we're running it as a live cohort for the final time in April of 2023. And then beyond that point, we're going to transition it into like an evergreen self-paced course that people can just sign up whenever they want. And we'll turn the live cohorts videos into recordings and modules and all that kind of stuff. Because I realized after a while that now that I've been doing this YouTuber Academy for 2.5 years, it has kind of gotten a little bit boring repeating the same content over and over again. And also, it's quite a lot of stress and quite a lot of faff doing a live cohort course. I'm really glad we did it because it was great during lockdown. It added interesting elements to life and it was a really high value, high margin product. But moving forward, I don't really want to be running live courses very much more, which is why we're ending this final cohort with a bang. Don't really want to be running live cohorts anymore because fundamentally it's a lifestyle business. The objective of the business is to create the lifestyle for me, essentially, where I've got freedom, fun, and flexibility. And I don't want to do live cohorts because that removes some of the freedom, some of the autonomy. It means I have to be on Zoom calls at certain times, multiple times a week. It means I can't really travel in those times. I need to have decent internet. There's quite a lot of stress. So we're basically, I suspect we'll probably make a lot less money through the YouTuber Academy. But when you're running a lifestyle business, that trade-off is actually worth it because you always want to be thinking about, at least that's how I think of it. I'm always kind of thinking, when is enough enough? And at what point do we need to put the brakes on making more money and instead actually just focus on the freedom, the fun, the flexibility, and having the impact that we want. All right, we're just gonna take a very quick break from the video to tell you about this video's sponsor, which is Brilliant.org. Now, Brilliant is the world's best platform for learning anything around maths or science or computer science in a really fun and interactive way. I've been working with Brilliant now for over 3 years, and the platform just keeps getting better and better. They've got thousands of lessons across maths and science and computer science. The ones that I'm personally most interested in are the computer science ones. As you guys might know, when I was first applying to medical school, I was actually torn between medical school and computer science. And I went with medicine in the end, but I've always had a bit of a bug in the back of my mind for computer science. I used to make websites when I was young. I'm still into a little bit of the coding stuff. And so my personal favorite courses on Brilliant have been the computer science themed ones, like Introduction to Algorithms, the fundamentals of computer science. Back when crypto was a big thing, prior to investing tons of money into crypto, I took their cryptocurrency series, which is a super fun and interactive way of explaining the maths and computer science and cryptography behind the idea of crypto. And now that this AI stuff is going big and I really want to understand how neural networks and transformers and stuff work, I've been going through their course in neural networks to try and just get get a little bit of a foundational understanding so that when I start using AI tools and maybe talking about them, I'll at least have some kind of basis to go on. But don't just take my word for it. If you are at all interested in learning more about this AI stuff, then head over to brilliant.org/Ali, and that will give you a 30-day completely free trial to Brilliant. And then you can check out the courses, you can try the interactive content, the quizzes and stuff, and you can see if you like it. And if you do end up liking it and you're one of the first 200 people to have signed up using that link, then you'll also get 20% off the annual premium subscription. So thank you so much, Brilliant, for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to it. Content-wise, interesting things are happening this year. So we're, doubling down on the YouTube channel, obviously. The YouTube channel is the foundation of the business. And if the YouTube channel were to die, then the business is going to die as well. We found that actually a surprisingly large chunk of the audience is now students. There was a period where students were like following the channel a little bit less. I think maybe during the pandemic, or maybe it could be wrong. And it seemed like we were getting more traction with amongst the entrepreneur audience. But we've done a few community posts recently across YouTube and socials and stuff. And there's still a ridiculously large contingent of the audience that's students. And so, yeah, just leaning into some of the student content, productivity content, like tech stuff. Basically the point of the YouTube channel is for me to share cool stuff that I've learned along the journey and to explore new things. So some of it is me sharing stuff that I already know about, for example, study tips and things. But some of it is me sharing stuff that I've explored newly. So for example, we've recently got into some health topics like skincare and sleep. And that's stuff that I want to explore more about. I'm personally getting into fitness, more about that in the health section. And really I'm trying to come up with a name for this, but like there's a bit of a mode going on here where it's like, for me personally, I get to explore and learn stuff. And as I learn stuff, I share it. And then I just keep on exploring. And there's this sort of explore, learn, share loop, which is what this kind of creatorpreneur educational type thing looks like. It's not really what like the vloggers do or the entertainment-y type YouTubers, but I think this is a model that a lot of educator type people, people who do educational content on the internet that I know, they kind of follow that model. They learn cool stuff and then they share it with their audience. And then over time they build an audience that knows, likes and trusts them. And then at some point they'll sell a course to some percentage of that audience, and then they'll repeat the process. And then over time, as they get older, they are essentially doing the same thing, but the topic areas are changing. Like, I don't really see myself making productivity content for the rest of my life. I see myself making videos and sharing cool stuff about whatever I enjoy learning along the way. At least that's the idea, that's the dream, that's the plan. And hopefully if that can be sustainable, which it seems like it is for now, if that can be sustainable over the long term, then that's me kind of living my best life and playing the infinite game. In addition to YouTube, we've also got the podcast. So the Deep Dive podcast has nearly hit 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is very exciting. Last year, we were in the top 1% of podcasts on Spotify that were shared and like they were listened to, and that's really cool. And the great thing about the podcast is that I get to have incredible conversations with experts from a whole range of fields. It might be other creators, it's often other entrepreneurs or academics, and I can like learn stuff from them and ask them questions about things that I want to learn about. Like, interviewed a gut health expert or a couple of sleep experts or, a guy who runs a center for compassion science and loads of entrepreneurs and finding out about their business models. And then those conversations I get to have in real life mostly. And then we just share them with the audience for free on a podcast. And that's pretty sick. But then really the dream behind the podcast is that it becomes a way for me to share insights outside of my own realm of personal expertise. Like we did a video recently, kind of seven myths that are ruining your sleep. And that video is done phenomenally well. But I don't really know anything about sleep. I was learning about the subject myself. But then by virtue of being able to interview Professor Russell Foster, who's literally a world expert on sleep and circadian science, through the podcast, we were able to turn that interview into what I think is a pretty solid YouTube video. And that video's got nearly like 3 million, 4 million views, something like that. And we've had loads of emails and comments from people being like, oh my God, this video is sick. So, cool stuff like that is what the podcast unlocks. The other thing we're trying to do more of this year is also kind of take the different social media platforms a little bit more seriously. So far, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, these have all been kind of secondary platforms for me because I don't really spend a lot of time on them. I don't think about them too hard. But, building an entire business on the borrowed land of YouTube is a little bit risky. And so partly for diversification, it's worth trying to build an audience across all these other platforms, but also because genuinely there are people out there that spend all their time on Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram and that don't really watch very many YouTube videos. There are so many content creators that I follow where I don't watch any of their long form YouTube videos, but I might watch their YouTube shorts or their Instagram reels. And so given that the aim of the business is to help people build a life they love through inspiring educational content, I've realized that this year we want to just take the other social media platforms a little bit more seriously. Like, we're producing all this content across, like, for the YouTube channel and the podcast anyway. So we may as well also then chop it up and put it on these other platforms in a way that makes sense for the platform. The other exciting thing about the various different social media platforms is that I can share stuff in a little bit less of a high production value way, which is really cool. Like, for example, on this YouTube channel, I feel like I have to put a lot of time and effort into preparing a video before I can make it, because the pressure is too high on this main YouTube channel. We kind of started a second YouTube channel last year and did a daily vlog, and that was super fun, but it took a lot of time and effort, and it was actually taking traffic away from the main channel, which then is bad for the business. So now what we started doing as of like 2 weeks ago is basically every day I'm trying to post something on socials, like sharing something that I've learned from a conversation or from a coaching session with our CEO coach, or from a book that I've read, and just doing a little bit more of that sharing-y type stuff. Because really one of the questions that I've been asking myself on the business front is, you know, if I won the lottery, how would I spend my time? If I didn't need to make money, how would I spend my time? And honestly, I would still continue to make videos because it's really fun making videos, but I'd wanna have a lower bar for sharing things. If I wasn't concerned, like, will this video perform well, I would probably make more stuff, because I'd be like, hey, I've just reread Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. I can't be bothered to do a whole like 8-hour job trying to turn this into a really super condensed thing. But if I could just hit record and say something about like a lesson I've learned from the book, I would love to do that. That would be fun. But maybe there's this hole that I've created for myself, but I feel like I can't really do that on the YouTube channel. But I can absolutely do that on my Instagram story, or on LinkedIn, or on Twitter, or anything like that. Or my email newsletter, which is actually where I share most of the sort of week by week stuff that I come across. And so really the objective that we're thinking this year in terms of the social media platforms, and also the email list, is to be like more of a just sharing stuff. Just sharing cool things as I discover them. And if people like them, then great. And if not, then that's fine. There are zillions of other people in the world to follow. And for me personally, I'm just this whole journey over the last 6 years has been an exercise in trying to get over imposter syndrome. Like, even for a video like this, you know, where it's, I don't know what the title of this is going to be, like Life Update 2023. You know, a big thing in the back of my mind all day has been, why would anyone care? Like, why does anyone care about what's going on in my life? Like, you know, and then I'll occasionally speak to people and they say, oh yeah, I love your life update videos because it really helps me see how you're thinking about your goals and your business, and that helps me with my creative business or whatever. And I'm like, oh, damn, people actually enjoy these videos. At least some people do. And so I'm just really trying to get over the fear of videos not performing well or not being applicable to literally everyone in the audience, and just having more of an attitude of sharing without fear. It's like sharing stuff, sticking it on the internet. If people want to watch it, they can watch it. If not, whatevs. I would share it anyway. And actually, I had a bit of a coaching session with Dr. Arya, who's coming out on the podcast very soon. And he was saying that it's less about sharing without fear and more about sharing in the face of fear. Like, we're always going to feel that fear. Every creator I've ever spoken to feels that fear when they, you know, just before they hit publish or just before they hit record, where they think, oh my God, who am I? Who am I to have the audacity to make a video about topic X? And then, you know, you feel the fear and you do it anyway, because sharing stuff online is pretty great. And what a world we live in, where people can make a full-time living or even a part-time living through learning about stuff that they enjoy and following their passions, and then just literally sharing that with the world. That's absolutely incredible. I had breakfast this morning with a chap called Nick, who runs a fantastic course called Linking Your Thinking. He's got a YouTube channel and he's got a course and everything. And over the lockdown, he was telling me he got really into note-taking, and he got super into Obsidian, which is a note-taking app that both he and I use. And he just started sharing stuff about Obsidian in the Obsidian Discord community. And through that, he managed to, like, he was just being helpful, sharing his love of Obsidian and helping people out. And then he thought, you know what, let me make a course. He didn't have an audience, he didn't have any unfair advantages. He just made a course, helping people, and he, you know, gave free access to the first 10 people, iterated the course over time. And now he's built a friggin' 7-figure business off the back of that, was able to quit his job to go full-time on this. And he's following this business model. He's exploring, following a passion, learning about it, sharing it, trying to be as helpful to people as possible, and then repeating that over and over again in a way that hopefully evolves over time. And I think, like, what a time to be alive that, you know, you can do that. Today, it's Monday the 13th of March. My friends who are doctors are currently on strike. They're striking because, you know, junior doctor pay has gone down to £14 an hour. Inflation is not keeping up with things. Like, the NHS, the National Health Service in the UK, is absolutely dying. All my friends on Instagram are sharing posts about how they're picketing and how they're protesting and demonstrating and stuff. And like, it's really sad that they're having to do that because obviously they are way more valuable to society than I am, for example, making videos on the internet. But in terms of optimizing for kind of freedom, fun, and flexibility, having the power of the internet to be able to build a kind of business where you can just literally, for a full-time job, just learn about cool things and then just share them online and build a business around that, that's so sick. Like, yeah. Anytime I meet people where that's been their journey as well, I'm just thinking that, damn, what a time to be alive. Anyway, if anyone's thinking of becoming a creator, would 100% recommend. Now, the other thing we're trying to do, keeping things to the business front, is I am working on my book. I haven't talked about it too much recently because basically, I mean, a book is a long process. I chatted to James Clear a couple of years ago who wrote Atomic Habits, and he said that book took about 5 years to come together. So far, I've been working on mine for around 2.5 years. It's been about 2.5 years. We're now in the editing stages. So we've got the third draft of the book that's ready. That's about like 110,000 words. And now it's in the editing stages where we're trying to cut things down to about 70,000 words, so it's a bit more reasonable. We're going back and forth with the publishers, with Penguin UK and Macmillan US on cover designs. And it's all kind of coming together. And a few months ago, I was thinking, oh God, this book is never going to be over. It's really bad. Like, what is this? Why did I agree to write this? You know, the whole imposter syndrome stuff. But now that it's actually gone through a couple of rounds of editing, I'm thinking, you know what? This is actually not bad. This actually could be a pretty good book. Maybe good is a strong word. It could at least be reasonable. And so as the process progresses, I find myself having more fun with it, realizing that it's actually quite fun writing a book. It's cool. And the main thing for the book is, again, and like with everything in the business, what I'm trying to focus on is the goal that's within my control. All I want to do is write a book that I'm proud of. That's it. You know, if it does well, great. If it doesn't, great. If people like it, great. If not, then that's fine as well. At least that's what I tell myself. I know in reality, when I see negative reviews for the book, people being like, oh, this could have been a blog post, lol, oh my God, this blowhard, like whatever the reviews, some of the reviews will say, that's probably going to be quite like painful. But I can at least tell myself that that's not the thing I'm optimizing for. I'm optimizing for how can I write a book I'm proud of and how can I learn something interesting along the way. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, the book will be released at some point in the next 12 months, maybe. Don't want to commit to a release date yet because anything could change and there's all sorts of stuff happening, and we would rather take longer to release a book that is better than release one quickly that's not very good. And when I interviewed Matthew Hussey on the podcast, he wrote a book called Get the Girl, I think like 10 years ago. And I asked him for advice, you know, anything he'd recommend. And he said, like, man, this book is going to be with you for the rest of your life, so really take your time in getting it right. And so that's what we're doing. We're taking our time to get it right because I don't want to publish something. It's not that hard to publish a book. Anyone can publish a book on Amazon. You can do it within like a weekend. But that's not really the point. Like, I don't want to publish the sort of book that I can write in a weekend and stick on Amazon. I want to write something that I'm genuinely proud of, that for the next like 5 years, 10 years, I could be holding up in videos and being like, hey, you know, I wrote this book and you can check it out if you like. So we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there, and each week we're making progress, me and the editing team, to get to that point. So that's been pretty exciting, but I will definitely share more details on that as we go along. And if you like, you can sign up to my book journey. It's a segment of my email newsletter where every month-ish I send an email just updating people on what's going on the book front, if you're potentially interested in that. And then the final thing that we're exploring as a bit of a side hustle is products. So we are attempting to build our own line of hardware products. Now this is pretty interesting. We've been working with a company called Genflow who specialize in kind of, you know, they've got factories and manufacturing relationships and stuff. And we're just trying to build really cool tech accessories like a mechanical keyboard and a backpack for your laptop and like notebooks and phone cases and, you know, the sort of stuff that every discerning productivity enthusiast needs as part of their arsenal. So we're actually meeting with them next week. We're going to their offices to see some prototypes that they've got shipped from their factories in China. And that's going to be sick because I get to try out loads of keyboards and be like, okay, we're only going to release this when it's the absolutely perfect mechanical keyboard that I genuinely use every single day. So that's a bit of a side hustle that we're dabbling with. Yeah, obviously we'll give you more updates as that process goes along, and we're also kind of documenting the whole behind the scenes process of this. So if it ever ends up getting off the ground, then we'll have all of the things documented. But also one thing that I'm sort of exploring as a little bit of a side hustle is software. Like, I've had the idea in the back of my mind that it would be really cool to build my own productivity app. Like if I could build my own to-do list, I would do it in a way that like really works for me. And so we're starting to work with a developer to see what does it look like if we try and make software. There's always a bit of a danger with this stuff. You know, our core business competency is content and courses, which is basically content. We don't do hardware, we don't do software. So we don't really want to line extend our business in trying to be really good at everything, which is why we're partnering with people who are really good at those things and trying to work with them. But also, it's kind of like explore versus exploit. There's always a bit of a trade-off between how much do you explore new avenues that might be interesting versus how much do you just focus and stay in your lane and focus on what you know. Because if you just stay in your lane forever, you're going to end up dying because you've got to like iterate and have some level of, I guess, exploration. But similarly, if you're exploring all the time and trying out all these different niches and never committing to anything, you're also, then your business is also not going to work. So there's like a bit of a tension between these things. So for me, the thing that we are, quote, exploiting, i.e. where we're focusing and doubling down, is the content and the courses, more so the content, because we already know how to do that kind of stuff. But the side quests, the side hustles that we're exploring as a business are the hardware and the software. And if things work out, fantastic. And if they don't, then cool, whatevs. We've at least tried. We've tried to release something interesting and see what happens. We did a bit of a side quest with a physical product stationery line last year and the year before. Was it last year? Yeah, I think it was in 2022. Essentially, the product line. I've actually got one of the pads with this stuff. And we built our own like productivity planners and notebooks and stuff. And that was an interesting side hustle. We've ended up shutting it down because it wasn't particularly profitable, and yeah, it just wasn't that fun in the end, shilling paper planners and stuff. And if I'm being honest, I was super excited about those paper planners initially. And then after a few months of using my part-time productivity planner, I stopped using it because my own workflow changed. And then it was like so much faff to change a physical product to be like, oh, I want to mold it to my workflow. I ended up just using a normal pen and paper notebook that I could just write on. But I'm glad we explored that because, for a business like this, we've been going for 6 years now in total. And there's always this like level, there's always this balance between, staying in your lane and also exploring other avenues and seeing how they go. So it's sort of like planting a few seeds. We'll plant a few seeds in various different areas. Some of them might start growing, and the ones that start growing will be like, oh, let's water that tree over there and let's see what happens, while hopefully trying to maintain the garden that we've got growing in terms of the content and the courses thing as part of the business. Okay, that is it for the first half of this video. I'm going to do a wee and grab a coffee with a friend, so I'll see you shortly. And we're back. So I've actually just come back from a kickboxing lesson, which segues us very nicely into the health stuff. So firstly, on the health front, I have decided to start taking kickboxing lessons. I had my third one just now. And the reason I went for kickboxing is mainly because it seems to be a really solid combination of fitness and flexibility and mobility and cardio and also like some level of self-defense. But crucially, the mobility and stuff is all in the hips, and my hips are really, really, really inflexible and bad. So I thought, I've been thinking for months, hey, I want to start kickboxing. And I've just met random people through just meeting random people that seem to have done kickboxing. And it's like that feeling where, if you're going to buy a car or something and you think no one has that car, and then suddenly you see that car everywhere in the road because you start noticing it more, manifestation and all that kind of stuff. Over the last several months, I've noticed more and more people in my life taking up kickboxing in various capacities, and they seem to be really enjoying it. So I thought I'd start. And I love it so far. It's absolutely fantastic, so definitely going to continue with that. And then alongside, I've been working with a health/fitness coach. His name is Dan Go. I actually discovered him on Twitter because he writes some really good threads on how to stay fit as like an adult and stuff like that. And I really vibed with his style of communication and the way he does his content. So I reached out to him on Twitter, and then we became mates, and now we're working together, where he's basically my remote fitness coach. So what he does, he's got this app which syncs really nicely on the back end with his like system, and he basically programs my workouts. So when I go to the gym, I have a plan that I follow, and I just stick to the plan, and I just slowly go up each time with progressive overload. So I'm finding myself getting a bit more hench. And on the app, I can also take progress photos and submit like measurements of like how big my biceps are and all that kind of fun stuff. The app is also great. It's called Trainerize. I'm not sure you can use it if you're a normal person, but the app I would recommend for normal people is Strong. Trainerize, I think, has to sync to another personal trainer, but Strong is a fantastic app that I've been using for years before then. The app is great because it also links to MyFitnessPal. So I've been tracking my macros and stuff for the last several months, 2 months now, and that syncs so he can see it on his end. And then occasionally he'll send me a WhatsApp message being like, hey, how's the diet going? And I'm finding that diet is the thing that I'm struggling with, because the objective, I'm currently on about 72 kg. The objective is to cut to about 68, so I can get to around about, 15 to 17% body fat. Fingers crossed, visible abs, maybe, and then slow bulk lean gains from that point onwards. But when it comes to fitness, I don't really have any specific goals in mind. Like my whole vibe is, I prefer to set goals that are within my control and input goals rather than outcome goals. And then alongside that, I'm using a website called Allo Moves that has this guy, I think Dylan Werner or something. He has this whole series on flexibility and mobility for beginners. So I'm just kind of following that. So basically every day I try and do at least something for my health, because I realize that for me, And for the last several years, like work and business and stuff has taken a significant priority role in my life. But I'm very much in danger of neglecting my health and fitness and relationships as well. So those are areas in which for this year, I really want to actively focus more on. Two more components in health. The first is nutrition, in which I have actually started to take more of an interest in cooking. And I've decided that the identity I want to embody for myself is a cooking adventurer. What does cooking adventurer mean? Honestly, I have no idea. But in my to-do list on Things, which is the app that I use to manage my to-do lists, I've got a little project called Cooking Adventurer, which reminds me that that's the kind of identity I want to embody when it comes to cooking food. So most evenings, instead of ordering takeout, I will now cook something, whether it's for myself or with friends. And my main focus is to try and enjoy the process and think of it as an adventure. So instead of just being like, hey, let me just get a takeaway because it's easy, I'll think, you know what? It's going to be an adventure. I'm going to go down to the shops, I'm going to get a steak or get some chicken or get some whatever, look up a cool recipe from like Babish or from like Ethan Chaplowski or from Josh Weissman, probably not Josh because he's too complicated, or like Pro Home Cooks, and then just follow the recipe and do the thing and treat it like it's a bit of a game, bit of a project, bit of an adventure. And I've been finding that through that framing of it, it's really encouraged me to keep going with the thing. Because again, I like setting goals that are within my control. And previously in the past, I think I've had a very kind of, I really should start cooking. I've had a very shouldy attitude to cooking. And that's meant that I felt like I had to coerce myself to cook, even though I really didn't feel like it. Whereas now, just that simple framing shift of approaching it like an adventure, at least for me, it super, super helps. If you want to keep up to date with the recipes I'm cooking, please follow me on Instagram. That's where I post random stories and stuff where I share cooking recipes. But the final area in health is that I really want to kind of take this longevity stuff seriously and start getting into it. So I want to become an expert on the longevity stuff, like the whole anti-aging field, by reading books and listening to podcasts and stuff over the next year. But I've also started working with a company called Everspan Life. I met the founder in Miami when I was there a few weeks ago, and he and I got talking, and they're this sort of longevity lab based in the US. And so they've sent me a bunch of tests to do, and I'm going to be working with their team to try and get like a longevity regimen in terms of like, what are the things that I need to be doing right now at the age of 28 that can help maximize my health span as I go older. So those are all the goals for health, and the way that I'm trying my best to stick to them, or rather the way I am sticking to them, is by making sure that every single day in my calendar, I have at least an hour and a half, like 90 minutes, blocked out for some sort of exercise. So that might be a gym workout, it might be a kickboxing session, it might be going for a run, it might be going for a walk, it might be walking on my treadmill desk while playing World of Warcraft to get my 10,000 steps in, it might be doing a stretch thing. And the whole attitude I'm approaching the health stuff with is progress over perfection. So as long as I'm taking steps in the direction of a healthy lifestyle every single day and carving out that time in my calendar for something related to health or exercise, then that's a win for me. And then finally, in the realm of relationships, I've got a couple of different goals. So firstly, various goals in terms of the romantic relationship in my life with my girlfriend. Maybe more on that later, maybe not, we'll see. I'm not really sure about how open to be about that kind of stuff, but yeah, we'll see. I also have a bit of a goal to be a group adventure leader. So I realized that I actually want to make more of an effort to keep in touch with friends. And one of the best ways of doing that is by arranging group holidays. And I have not yet done this, but this is the plan for this year, that every quarter or so, every 3 months, to have like a weekend or a long weekend or a week away with friends, either a road trip in the UK or maybe a trip outside of the UK, where I can just find a date, put it in the diary, and I can do the organization so that I can message all my friends and be like, hey, do you want to come to this thing? And then hopefully different friendship groups can meet up, and then that'll be great vibes. So that's something I'm really aiming for this year. On top of that, I also want to be a dinner party chef. So you'll see that like with a lot of these goals, I'm trying to frame them in terms of an identity that I want to have, like a cooking adventurer and a group adventure leader and a dinner party chef, because I want to be that kind of person, and that's how I'm approaching that. That's how I'm approaching goal setting this year. So for dinner party chef, I've blocked out basically every Thursday evening as being like a block in the calendar for some sort of social dinner where I can invite friends over and cook for them. And so actually, for the last several weeks, I've had friends over most weeks and I've cooked for them most times. Might be steak or burgers or fajitas or bolognese or vegan bolognese. We've done various different dishes. And I've been finding that it's actually more fun having friends over where I cook for them than it is for all of us to go to a restaurant. Because then the cooking itself becomes a bit of an activity and a bit of a group shared experience. I can delegate some of the chopping of the veg, give the knives out, and it's great vibes. We all chill in the kitchen. We all sort of cook the thing together, and then we take it into the dining room, and then we eat in the dining room. So that's been super, super fun. Would recommend. And again, because I know that I wanted to learn how to cook, I thought, what is a way that I can do that actually makes it enjoyable and sustainable and fun for myself rather than feeling like a chore? If you've watched this far and you're interested in keeping up to date with how these various goals are going and the strategies and tools and stuff I'm using to hopefully try and get there, then do please subscribe to my email newsletter. Every Sunday, I just send a quick email with some thoughts for the week and some links to interesting things that I've discovered or watched or listened to. And I'll occasionally kind of post a little update that, oh, I've discovered this new strategy to help with my cooking goals or with my food goals or with my fitness goals. And if you're interested in more of the business stuff, check out this video over here, which is a breakdown of exactly why I have 14 employees in this business. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.